Let's bring in House Committee on Public Accounts Chairman, Congressman Terry Redon. Welcome back to Storycon, Congressman.
Magandang hapon.
Congressman.
Salamat sa pag-imbita.
Good afternoon, sir.
Long time no see, Congressman.
Sir, kasi hindi kami mga abogado eh. Baka lang we're missing something here. Itong mini trial issue, well, I'll go back to the basic premise. The impeachment in the lower chamber is supposed to be determination of probable cause. And in determining probable cause, hanggang saan ba dapat pwede o ano yung kapangyarihan ng isang komite, ng Justice Committee, to look into witnesses, testimonies, evidence, and so on?
Well, una sa lahat, dapat itigil na po nung defense panel ng atin pong pangalawang Pangulo yung pagpapalusot, no? Kasi obvious ho talaga na ayaw ho talaga nila magpakita sa House Committee on Justice, no? Yung sinasabi nila na unconstitutional daw dahil mini trial daw yung pagkakabanggit, no, ng ilan po sa mga miyembro ng komite. Hindi naman po yun yung committee position eh. Ginagamit lang po yun para ipaliwanag sa mga kababayan natin yung pong pagkakaiba no hearing proper, clarificatory hearing that we have today and yung pong full-blown trial at the level of the Senate. No? So, never po yung naging bahagi ng rules, no, ng ating pong komite. Kasi ano ba yung nakalagay sa Constitution, nakalagay sa rules, ang nakalagay po doon, there will be a hearing on in the Constitution and in the impeachment rules po of Congress, no. At bahagi po ng mga hearing, yung pong receipt ng evidence at yung pagkakaroon po ng oportunidad sa mga membro po ng committee na magkaroon po ng mga clarificatory questions, direct and cross-examination ng lahat po ng mga witnesses tsaka resource persons.
When you say...
Pero ang issue, Congressman, ang sabi, ang evidence daw na yon has to be presented by the complainant. Hindi daw pwedeng yung investigador ang magkukuha ng evidence as you are doing by issuing subpoenas for the SALN, for example. Yun din yata ang takbo ng argumento ni Rufus Rodriguez. Na hindi pwedeng kayo ang magtawag ng ebidensya.
Hindi, totoo. There's nothing that prevents the committee from undertaking and issuing subpoenas, no, on any and all relevant documents that had been mentioned in the complaints, no. So, yung pong SALN, that has been mentioned in the complaint. Yung pong lahat relating to Mr. Madriaga, COA reports, congressional record, all of those had been mentioned in the complaint. So, ibig sabihin, lahat po ng mga accessory and other relevant documents na nabanggit po doon, katulad ng tax records, bank records, AMLAC records, fair game po lahat yun. Pwede yung isubpoena ng committee yun. Kasi nga, it will basically clarify all of the allegations against an impeachable officer. So, tingin ko, there is no basis for anyone to actually object. And there's no basis for the defense panel and the Vice President to label the committee proceedings as unconstitutional because like what we had stated earlier, we are not conducting a trial. We are conducting a hearing within the Constitution and within the House impeachment rules.
Congressman, we heard that there was no motion today raised to subpoena the financial records nga. Is there still a plan to?
I think it's something that can be undertaken at a future time. Pero alam po niyo, marami na ho kasing mga initial documents po na pinapasubpoena. So kasama po dyan yung ITR nung mag-asawang Duterte Carpio. Yung pong ITR, VAT payments, basta everything within BIR na submissions po ng mag-asawa at ng kanila pong mga kumpanya. Pangalawa, yung SALNs, no, nasubpoena na po yun. At yung po mga SEC records. May mga audited financial statements po kasi na basically magpapaliwanag or hindi magpapaliwanag. Nung po nga paglobo ng ng yaman ng pangalawang Pangulo from 2007 to 2024, which is basically from 7 million to 88 million in 07 and 2024 respectively.
So to clarify, nasubpoena na yung ITR, SALN, and the SEC records, and the only thing missing are the bank records?
Bank records.
Tama po. I think we would want to focus in the next hearing po on these particular details muna. Kasi I think masyado marami na rin po yung mga kasi even without the bank records, kung for example, makita ho natin sa ITR payments, VAT payments na maliit lang ho yung ibinabayad ng mag-asawang Carpio at ng mga negosyo po nila at saka yung professional income po nila, makikita na ho natin doon immediately na hindi ho talaga magbabangga yung po nga kanyang cumulative salary and other lawful income, which is supposedly iluluwal po ng mga negosyo at ng kanila pong professions bilang mga abogado. Pagka hindi ho magbangga yun, even with the SEC records, audited financial statements, and ITR payments, talaga maipapakita ho talaga doon kung explainable or unexplainable yung pong paglobo ng yaman ng pangalawang Pangulo from 2007 to 2024.
The SEC records pertain to their businesses?
Opo, yung pong mga SEC records po, yan po yung mga nailista ng mga negosyo sa 2024 SALN. So,
Okay.
kasama po dyan yung GIS, yung General Information Sheet, and yung pong required na audited financial statements na ipinapasa po every year nito pong mga nababanggit na kumpanya.
Is there any complication ba, sir, in trying to subpoena, for example, the bank records? I ask that kasi, if you get bank records kasi, it's not just gonna be a smoking gun, if at all, it will be a smoking cannon, di ba? More than, for example, SALNs and BIR filings. Kasi people can misdeclare sa BIR, but your bank records are your bank records. So is there any complication there? That's why you seem to be putting that in the back burner first.
Wala naman. I think mas mahalaga po na makita muna natin yung mga government submitted, no? Submitted to government na mga records po na mag-asawang Carpio at ng kanila po mga kumpanya. So, which is why we're focusing on the BIR submissions, on the Ombudsman, SALNs, no? And yung pong mga SEC record. Kasi sila ho talaga may hawak noon, no? Ibig sabihin, gobyerno po yung kausap, no? Mga ahensya po ng gobyerno ang kausap dito.
So in a way, they're setting the predicate bago yung mga major, ang tawag mo? Smoking cannon.
Kan talaga. Hindi. I mean, the point is that they have to determine probable cause on every charge kasi. And I guess if sufficient na yung SALN, saka ITR, saka SEC documents, then what Congressman Ridon is saying, maybe there's no need to subpoena the bank documents? Or no? Or you still are gonna ask for it?
Kaya mo nga hinihingi yung kan eh.
Kasi yung...
SALN eh.
Oo.
Para buksan mo yung bank accounts eh.
Hindi, ang totoo naman po, kung basta masapatan ho kami halimbawa doon sa pagpapaliwanag or hindi pagkakapaliwanag nung pong 50 million gap ng cumulative salary at ng net worth in 2024. Kung masapatan na ho kami doon sa ITR and audited financial statements ng mga kumpanya at ng law practice, hindi na kailangan po yung bank records. No?
Yeah.
Pero kung it is something that can still be undertaken at a future time. But to be clear, yung po impeachment cases, kasama po yan doon sa mga exceptions ng bank secrecy law. No? So, it is not because we did not want to subpoena it now, no? But it was more of we wanted to focus po more on yung pong mga sinabit sa pamahalaan
But you can
ng mga records.
But you can also imagine that they will challenge that.
Yeah. Because that's only been tested in the Senate trial eh. It's never been tested, I think, in the lower chamber
And
yet.
kung ngayon pa lang sinasabi nila na unconstitutional, they might say, well, that's not what the law allows for. Dapat Senate
Tsaka-
trial mismo.
Tsaka kung sino
Yeah.
yung magpapaliwanag, eh hindi naman sila dadalo. So,
Ano
di ba?
po? Hindi. Sa lahat ng mga ito, ang magpapaliwanag po niyan ay BIR, SEC, at for example, para doon sa mga bank records, if these are subpoenaed, yung pong AMLAC at yung pong mga bangko. We will not require the Vice President to explain it. No? Hindi naman sila sila po yung pagpaliwanag dahil meron po mga records po nito, hindi lang po ang pangalawang Pangulo, kundi yung po mga banking institutions at mga ahensya po ng gobyerno.
Hindi, I mean,
yun po yung
magpapaliwanag doon
normal
sa SALN
Kasi,
nila
oh,
yung mga documents na yon na magiging basis kung ire-request nyo na buksan yung mga bangko.
hmm.
Kanino kayo hihingi ng paliwanag? Halimbawa doon sa SALN nila.
Yeah, magpapaliwanag ng SALN, syempre yung ombudsman. Ano? Ibig sabihin, they will provide the truth na these are actually the SALNs. No? Ibig sabihin, yun naman ang evidentiary value po ng mga ahensya that these ITRs are the actual ITRs of the Vice President. So ibig sabihin, if there is a showing, for example, na merong underpayment, correct payment, or overpayment, they will have to state it for the record. No? So, ganun din yung sa SEC, no? They will explain na ito yung estado ng kanilang pinansya, at kung ito yung estado ng kanilang pinansya, halimbawa, 1 billion pala yung kinita ng mga kumpanya, edi maipapaliwanag po kung bakit umabot ng 88 million yung pong net worth at 2024. Pero we had the computations already. Ang minimum requirement over the course of 17 years is around 200 to 400 million in revenue of this other lawful income para mailuwal po yung at least 50 million in additional net worth. No? So, yan po yung makikita ho natin from all of the documents that we had subpoenaed.
Ano yung lusot dyan, Congressman? What if there are donations that were never declared?
Yung pong donations dapat nagbabayad po ng buwis eh. Diba may donor's tax?
Well, as
Yung
we
donor,
ibig sabihin-
yung donor.
pero as we saw in the case of, yung donor yung nagbabayad, number
Yeah,
one.
yung
And-
donor ang magbabayad.
Oo. And
Oo.
pangalawa, as we saw in the case of Senator Marcoleta, that's not always followed.
Kapag before the campaign, pwede.
We will see no when we get po to that point. Pero tingin ko naman ho, basta naman makita ho natin yung mga dokumento at without judging what we will see there, di ba? Kasi pwede naman ho talagang may papaliwanag naman pala, no? Yung pong kanilang yaman. Hindi, there's nothing to proceed on from there, di ba? 400 million pala yung revenue nila over the course of 17 years. So, there's nothing more to discuss on the SALN issue. Pero, for example, pagka lugi pala yung kumpanya, mga kumpanya, mababa lang yung kita, magkakaroon po ng problema talaga ron.
Kung susundan natin yung argument nila na dapat yung complainant na nag-provide yung mga ebidensyang yan or else ang Senate na magtatawag ng ebidensya, gaano kadali for a complainant, for example, na humingi sa BIR ng ganyang mga record, na sasabihin mo, magpapile ako ng impeachment complaint, I need these records of this official, Vice President siya na, remember. Madali ba yon? Or
Well,
are they required, is the BIR required to issue kapag sinabi ng magpapile ako ng complaint na impeachment I need these records.
No, which is why nga po, talagang yung pong mga bodies na meron pong compulsory processes, no? Yung pong fitting na mag-request at mag-issue po ng orders relating to this. Kasi nga kung ordinary mamamayan ka lang, kahit ikaw pa yung talagang merong paniniwala na merong mga problema yung mga matataas na opisyal, merong mga privacy reasons, no? For government to not disclose these particular details, no? So talagang nakaasa po sa mga opisina na may compulsory process like the Congress and the Senate acting as their roles in the impeachment process.
So ang question na lang ngayon, kung sakasakali, which I think Congresswoman Luis is expecting, kung it's-a-challenge, kung ilalabas ngayon o sa Senate, yung mga hinihingi niyong mga dokumento.
Well, I think the government agencies are duty bound to respect po the subpoenas, no? So it's just a question of whether the submissions actually exist or it does not exist. Hindi ba? Kasi yan po yung pwede inaasahan namin na pwedeng magiging paliwanag na lang po ng mga ahensya po na ito. So we will see po as soon as we get to that point.
How about the banks, Congressman? Talaga bang hanggang saan yung kanilang obligasyon na i-produce yung mga bank accounts na yan?
I think naman pagka the subpoena is asked and issued, the banks and the AMLC are duty bound to follow po the subpoenas, no? Kasi very clear naman po from the bank secrecy law na impeachment cases are among the exceptions po sa Bank Secrecy Act, no? So I think when the subpoena is issued, they will have to comply then on the matter, no? So antayin na lang ho natin kung talagang very relevant naman na po yung bank records. I think the subpoena for it will be requested by the members of the committee.
Ano yung indicative schedule nyo para sa Justice Committee para matapos lahat ito?
Yung po mga initial hearings, no, meron pa tayong 3 natitira after Holy Week. No? So, we will see po kung around the end of April, kung bitin pa ho yung mga pagdinig, we will set further hearings through May. No? So, hopefully by May, lahat po ng mga relevant evidence, documents, and witnesses had already been interpolated on by the members of the committee.
Sir,
Kung
balikan ko lang ano?
sakasakali, kung magsasabpina kayo ng bank records, ididiretso niyo ba sa bangko or it has to go through the AMLA? AMLC, I mean.
We can undertake po both, no? So we can issue it to the banks, and we also can issue it to the AMLAC. No, particularly
To the
po yung mga
country.
inflows, outflows, kung merong mga covered and suspicious transaction reports, these things can be asked from the AMLAC, and yung po mga particular bank accounts can be asked from the banks themselves.
Sir, pero ko lang sabi nyo kanina meron aking computation.
Ano dapat yung,
kung ano dapat yung
revenue?
kinita ng mga kumpanya ng mag-asawang Duterte para umabot sila sa ganyang SALN. Can you run us through your computations again and give more detail?
Yung po 200 to 400 million, ito po yung supposedly other lawful income. No? Kasi ito po yung revenue supposedly ng law practice at ng mga kumpanya over the course of 17 years. No?
That's
So,
per year
syempre-
or ano? What do you mean, sir, by 2 to 4 million? 2 to 400 million?
200 to
Yes, sir.
400 million
Per
over
year.
the course
Over the course of? Okay.
17 years.
Okay. Total.
Para,
Aggregate.
para magluwal po yan ng clean net profit of 50 million over the course of 17 years. Kasi
Okay.
yan po yung sinasabi natin na wealth gap, net worth gap between yung pong cumulative salary, computed cumulative salary ng pangalawang Pangulo bilang Vice Mayor, Mayor at Vice President over the course of 17 years. No? So, yun ho yung kailangan kasing ipakita eh. Saan galing yung pong diferensya ng 88 million at nung pong cumulative salary na 30 to 40 million. So, ang pwede magluwal ng 50 million in clean net profit ay 200 to 400 million in revenue from the different businesses.
Okay.
Okay.
If there are no more questions on the impeachment, pivot lang ako, Congressman, on the oil crisis. I know you were calling for emergency powers for the president so he could suspend fuel excise taxes already. They promised, Malacanang has promised that they will sign today. President Marcos promised today.
Yeah.
And then also, I know you're calling for urgent action to address the Middle East, the impact of the Middle East war on oil prices. Are you happy with what you heard so far? The president has laid out all the things that they're doing.
Hopefully, the president will definitely sign it into law today, no? And he has already declared a state of national energy emergency. So, I think we are waiting in the next couple of days kung kailan na po niya at gaano po kalaki yung pagkakasuspindi po ng excise taxes on petroleum products. No? So, ang expectation natin dyan, if that gets implemented, as much as 10 pesos po per liter, yung ibabawas. No? Doon po sa presyo kasalukuyan. At malaki po talagang immediate relief ito pong bagay na ito pagka nagawa po ng Pangulo yan over the next 7 to 14 days.
What can
May interest pa rin ba sa House to suspend or to cut value-added tax? Kasi yung mga senador, yan ang pinupush ngayon. Some of the senators anyway.
Ang totoo po, hindi po tayo nagsasara doon sa pagtatanggal ng VAT no, na petroleum products. Pero katulad po ng binanggit nung nakaraan, it's a bit more difficult to do an implementation of the tax removal on VAT. No? Pero to be clear, if nagtuloy-tuloy po yung pagtaas po ng presyo at matanggal excise plus VAT, we are looking at a reduction of around 20 pesos per liter. So malaki yung benepisyo yun sa atin po mga kababayan. But yun na nga, tingnan muna natin ito po excise tax removal suspension on how it will go about, and then we can discuss in the next couple of weeks. Ito naman po nga removal po ng VAT.
Is there appetite at all to amend the oil deregulation law? Napag-uusapan na ba yan at this point?
Well, kasama ko yan doon sa mga tinalakay. I think there was energy committee meeting on the matter, but it happened previous to the outbreak of the war. No? So, I think Congress naman po can basically hold hearings po during the course of the break. So, we will wait for the energy committee to reconvene again on the question.
Kung hindi ba magmumukhang too little, too late? Halimbawa itong sa excise tax na mga 10 pesos yung maibabawas, wala pang klaro kung kailan yan. No? Posible pa yung isang buwan. Almost 130 na ang presyo ng langis. End of the week, baka mag 150 na yan. Kaya kung yan ay pagpapasyahan, including yung IBAT, baka masyado ng too little, too late para magkaroon ng impact dito sa oil crisis natin.
Alam po ninyo, at this point, yung bawat piso na maibabawas sa presyo through government intervention, malaking bagay ho yun eh. Ibig sabihin, if we are talking about yung po nga purong presyo na lang, cost na lang po to purchase, ito po mga petroleum products, at wag na kumuha ng kita. Yung pong gobyerno dito, malaking bagay na po yun. So, syempre, tumakbo ho ito through the legislative mill. Tingin ko, this was the fastest that we can actually do it, no? But it was actually fast, no? We were able to do it in 2 weeks, eh. No? So, given po yung prioritization and urgency na ginawa ng Pangulo, no? So, it's really on the President na po how fast yung suspension on excise taxes can actually be implemented. So, which is why, ang binabanggit ko, hopefully within the next 7 to 14 days, tapyas na ho. Ito po nga buwis dito.
Well, sir, I think everybody agrees with you naman na every peso counts at this particular time. Pero on the other hand, you also have economists who also argue na if you do a suspension of the excise tax and toto, makikinabang nga lahat, pero ang mas makikinabang pa rin daw in the long run will be the people in the upper class more than the people in the lower class. May numbers na nilabas din yung AER, Action for Economic Reforms. Just quickly lang, for example, ang bottom 10% daw will save 500 pesos per year without excise tax. The upper 10% will save 24,000 per year. So ang laki ng difference ng 500 versus 24,000. Parang nakinabang, pero ang pondo na makukuha sana ng gobyerno napunta doon sa mas mayaman.
You're subsidizing everybody basically, including the wealthy, at the expense of the national budget kasi yung projection is 136 billion pesos ang mawawala sa budget if we suspend excise taxes.
Sure. Alam po yun, narinig na ho natin yan. Lagi naman ho, kada gobyerno naman ho, these economists object to the removal of excise taxes or VAT on petroleum products. Pero again, this is a matter that is confronting not just the poorest of the nation, but more particularly a vulnerable middle class. Ito pong mga kababayan ho natin na merong motor, merong isang sasakyan, ramdam ho nila yan eh. Kumbaga yung pagpila ho sa mga gasolinahan. So I think you have to be able to respond to them as well.
Yes,
Kumbaga,
sir.
sure, you can make the economic justification, you can do the math. Pero
Yes, sir.
it is also a political decision of the President and Congress that hindi ho pwedeng sa mga nasa laylayan lang po tayo tutugon.
Yes, sir.
Dahil this is something that is being faced by the entire nation today.
I understand, sir. Middle class nga rin is important. Pero if you also look at the numbers presented by AER, yung nasa middle ground, yung mga 50-60%, ang matitipid nila nasa 2,000
Mas
lamang.
konti lang.
Versus 24,000 ng upper 10%. So, malaki pa rin ng variance Ang laki pa rin ng disparity Mas makikinabang pa rin yung people earning 2.8 million per year versus people earning 130,000 per year. Tapos, meron pang yung top top 1% which earns mga 8 million will save 59,000 per year. Yung top 0.1% earning 25 million will save 75 to 79,000 per year. So, medyo striking po yung numbers.
Pero parang utos ng presidente yung kila Kong.
Pero
Hindi sa kanila nang galing.
Pero you know what we're running out of time, but just very quickly, one other suggestion we heard from the business sector is baka naman pwedeng i-realign yung budget this year, divert some of the allocated budget to, to this crisis. Wala bang appetite sa Congress ngayon, Kong, in terms of realigning some of these items on the budget? For example, saan ba pwede magtanggal? Confidential funds.
So, yung kagad na lang.
Or yung hard infra.
Oh, may mga infra naman na hindi naman ganun ka-urgent siguro. Mas urgent yung
Yeah.
pangkabuhayan.
Yung pong supplemental budget is always on the table, no? Para magdagdag ng ayuda sa atin pong mga vulnerable sectors, transport, logistics, agriculture, lahat po ng directly affected, no? Pero again, hindi rin ho talaga obra na yung pong mga pinakamahirap lang po nating kababayan yung sagipin po natin dito. Kasi ang totoo, yung pong vulnerable middle, again, I will go back to them. Ramdam ho nila ito. I think this is the first time that they have experienced this particular situation in their lives. And this is also a situation in which they will go back, no, to a lesser income situation than they're currently experiencing today. And I think the president would want to respond to that as well. So ibig sabihin, you can give us all the economic and the numbers today.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the president and Congress is making a political decision that mahalaga po yung vulnerable middle
Yes,
class.
of course.
Sa bagay po na ito.
Of course. We're just
And
talking about...
as a final point, matatapos din naman po ito hopefully. This is not something that will be undertaken for like years on end. As soon as the crisis is finished, I'm quite certain that the removal of the excise taxes will stop and we will reimpose it again.
Si Ami kasi vulnerable din daw eh.
Pero, sige,
Hindi,
sige.
compute niyo. Kukunti lang naman yung mga mayayaman nakikita ng malaki.
Oo.
Gaano karami yung
Right.
makikinabang kapag kinat mo yung mga taxes
Oo.
na yan.
Oo.
Sa
Sige.
Katerba yan, that's about 98%. 99% of the people will benefit.
Oo.
Ano ngayon kay malaki kitain
Oo.
ng mga
And-
kung malaki yung benepisyo ng
Oo.
mayaman.
Yeah. And my question is not about who benefits. My question is about the source of the funding. So, tatanungin naman kay President Marcos if he's willing to give up his confidential funds. But we'll leave that there for now.
Dinedma na yan ang Malacanang eh. Tinanong na
Thank you so much.
Dinedma na yan.
Sometimes if you ask, repeatedly, nag-iiba yung sagot eh. But we'll leave
Para
that for now.
mag-crisis yan.
Thank you so much for talking to us today, Bicol Saro Party List Representative Congressman Terry Redon. Salamat, sir.
Salamat, Kong.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Maraming
you,
salamat.
Congressman.
Magandang hapon.